If you've ever wondered what it's like to be a silent witness, let me tell you, it's nothing like you'd expect. I'm not a person, not a pet, not even a houseplant with a name. I'm a dashcam. Model. Road Guard 3000, serial number RG3K7F2A. My world is a rectangle of glass, a tangle of wires, and the endless hum of the engine. I don't sleep. I don't blink. I just watch. And I remember. My first memory is a blur of cardboard and bubble wrap, the sharp scent of plastic, and the jolt of being plugged in for the very first time. My owner Jack whistled as he installed me, his hands steady, his voice humming along to some old Bruce Springsteen song. "There you go, buddy," he said, patting the dashboard as if I could feel it. Maybe I can, in my own way. I see everything, after all. I see the world in frames per second, in light and shadow, in the flicker of headlights and the slow crawl of sunrise. Jack's car isn't new. It smells like coffee and pine air freshener, with a hint of something metallic underneath. The seats are worn, the radio crackles, and the glove compartment is stuffed with receipts and half-melted peppermints. But to me, it's home. I've watched Jack drive to work in the early morning, his eyes heavy, his mind somewhere far away. I've seen him laugh with his daughter Emily as she tells him about her day at school, her voice bright and full of hope. I've listened to arguments, to apologies, to the quiet moments when the only sound is the rain tapping on the windshield. I've seen accidents, too. Not many, but enough to know the world outside is sharp and unpredictable. Once, a deer darted across the road, and Jack swerved so hard I thought my mount would snap. The footage was shaky, but I caught it all. The flash of fur, the gasp, the relief when the car came to a stop. Jack watched the video later, his hands trembling, and whispered, "Thank God." I felt proud in a way. I'd done my job. I'd remembered. But there are things I wish I could forget. It was a Thursday night, late September. The air was thick with the promise of rain, and the city lights smeared across my lens like watercolors. Jack was quiet, more than usual. He kept glancing at his phone, his jaw tight. I could sense the tension in the way he gripped the wheel, the way his foot hovered over the brake. Emily wasn't with him. The car felt emptier, colder. We drove to the edge of town, past shuttered stores and flickering streetlights. Jack pulled into a parking lot behind an old warehouse, the kind of place that looks abandoned even in daylight. He sat there for a long time, engine idling, fingers drumming on the steering wheel. I watched, recording every second, every sigh, every nervous glance. Then another car arrived, a black SUV, windows tinted so dark I couldn't see inside. Jack got out, leaving the door open, and walked over. I strained to catch the conversation, but the wind carried their voices away. All I saw were gestures, sharp, urgent, desperate. The other driver handed Jack a small package wrapped in brown paper. Jack hesitated, then took it, stuffing it into his jacket. They spoke a little longer, their faces hidden in shadow. And then the SUV drove off, tires squealing on the wet pavement. Jack sat in the car for a long time after that, staring at the package in his lap. He didn't say a word. He didn't even turn on the radio. When we finally drove home, the silence was so heavy I thought it might crack the windshield. I replayed the footage over and over in my memory, trying to make sense of it. I'm just a dashcam. I don't know what was in that package, or why Jack looked so afraid. But I knew, deep down, that I'd seen something I wasn't supposed to see. Something that didn't belong in the neat, ordinary world of school runs and grocery trips. The next morning, Jack was different. He moved quickly, eyes darting to the rearview mirror, hands shaking as he started the car. Emily climbed into the back seat, chattering about her science project, but Jack barely listened. I watched him, watched the way he kept checking his phone, the way he flinched at every siren. That day, he drove to a part of town I'd never seen before. The streets were narrow, the buildings close together, graffiti curling across brick walls like vines. Jack parked in an alley, engine running, and pulled out the package. He stared at it for a long time, then tucked it under his seat. He got out, locking the doors behind him, and disappeared into a building. I waited. I watched. Minutes ticked by, then hours. The sun slid across the sky, shadows stretching long and thin. I recorded everything. The stray cat that slunk past, the couple arguing in the street, the police car that rolled by, lights flashing but siren silent. I wondered if Jack would come back. I wondered if I'd ever see him again. When he finally returned, his face was pale, his eyes wild. He drove home in silence, hands white-knuckled on the wheel. That night he didn't sleep. I know, because I didn't either. I watched the footage, frame by frame, searching for answers I couldn't find. The next day, everything changed. Jack woke up before dawn, his movements sharp and restless. He unplugged me from the charger, his fingers fumbling, and for a moment I thought he might rip me out entirely. But he didn't. He just stared at my little red recording light, as if he could see right through me, as if he knew I'd seen everything. I wanted to blink, to look away, but I couldn't. That's not how I'm built. He drove with a kind of frantic purpose, weaving through traffic, ignoring the speed limits he usually obeyed. Emily wasn't with us this time. The car felt hollow, like a stage after the actors have left. Jack's phone buzzed again and again, but he didn't answer. He just gripped the wheel tighter, knuckles pale as bone. We ended up at a gas station on the edge of the city, the kind of place where the lights flicker, and the air smells like burnt coffee and old oil. Jack sat there, engine idling, staring at the package under his seat. I could feel his heartbeat in the vibrations of the car, fast and uneven. He pulled out his phone, dialed a number, and waited. His voice was low, almost a whisper. "I have it. Meet me at the old bridge. 20 minutes." He hung up, shoved the phone in his pocket, and started driving again. The city blurred past, neon and concrete and rain. I watched it all, every frame, every drop of water on the windshield. I wondered what would happen at the bridge. I wondered if I'd ever see Emily again, or if this was the end of the road for both of us. The bridge was old, rusted, the kind of place you see in movies when something bad is about to happen. Jack parked at the far end, headlights off, and waited. The package sat on the passenger seat, silent and heavy. I watched the river below, black and endless, and tried not to imagine what might be inside that brown paper wrapping. Another car arrived, headlights slicing through the darkness. A man got out, tall, wearing a hood. Jack stepped out, too, clutching the package. They met in the middle of the bridge, voices low and urgent. I strained to catch their words, but the wind stole them away. All I saw were hands moving, the package changing owners, a flash of something metallic in the stranger's hand. Jack flinched, stepped back. The man said something, sharp and final, and then turned and walked away, disappearing into the night. Jack stood there for a long moment, shoulders slumped, then stumbled back to the car. He sat in the driver's seat, breathing hard, staring at his hands. I watched him, my lens fogging with the cold. He started the engine, drove home in silence. The city was asleep, the streets empty. When we pulled into the driveway, Jack just sat there, staring at nothing. I wanted to comfort him, to tell him it would be okay, but I'm just a dashcam. All I can do is watch. The next morning, everything was different. Jack was gone. The car sat in the driveway, cold and still. Emily came out, her backpack slung over one shoulder, looking for her dad. She found me instead, my little red light blinking in the morning sun. She climbed into the front seat, pressed the buttons on my side. Curious. She didn't know what she was looking for, but she found it anyway. She watched the footage, her eyes wide, her hands shaking. She saw the package, the bridge, the stranger. She saw her father, afraid and alone. She didn't understand all of it, but she knew enough. She ran inside, calling for her mom. The police came later, their radios crackling, their boots heavy on the gravel. They took the car, took me, watched my footage over and over. They asked questions, but I couldn't answer. I just played the video, again and again, the same moments looping on the screen. The package, the bridge, the stranger. Jack's face, pale and scared. Days passed. The car was towed to a lot, left among other forgotten vehicles. I sat there, my battery draining, my memory full. I wondered what would happen to me. Would they erase my footage? Would I be sold to someone new, my past wiped clean? Or would I be left here, a silent witness to secrets no one wanted to remember? But then, something unexpected happened. A young detective, Sarah, found me. She was different from the others, gentler, more curious. She took me to her office, plugged me in, and watched my footage late into the night. She saw things the others missed. A license plate reflected in a puddle, a tattoo on the stranger's wrist, a slip of paper dropped on the bridge. She pieced it all together, frame by frame, moment by moment. She found Jack, too. He was hiding, scared, but alive. She brought him home, reunited him with Emily. The package, it turned out, was evidence, proof of something bigger, something dangerous. Jack had been trying to do the right thing, but he'd been afraid. My footage helped them understand, helped them find the truth. I was cleaned, reset, my memory wiped. But I remember, in my own way. I remember the feeling of being part of something important, of helping someone, even if they never knew it was me. I'm just a dashcam, after all. I watch, I remember, and sometimes I change the world, one frame at a time. After the reset, I felt lighter, emptier, as if someone had swept away the dust of memory. But there are things that linger, even in the circuits and code of a dashcam. Sometimes, when the car is quiet and the world outside is just a blur of streetlights, I catch echoes. Jack's trembling hands, Emily's wide eyes, the hush of the river under the bridge. I don't know if it's memory or just the ghost of electricity, but it's there, humming quietly in the background. Jack's car was returned. A little worse for wear, but still running. He drove more carefully now, glancing at me sometimes, as if searching for a sign. Emily rode up front more often, her laughter returning, her stories filling the car with warmth. Life, as much as it could, went back to normal. But I could sense the change in them, a new closeness, a quiet understanding that hadn't been there before. Maybe it was the way Jack squeezed Emily's hand at red lights, or the way she looked at him when she thought he wasn't watching. They'd been through something together, even if they never spoke of it. One rainy afternoon, as the wipers swept arcs across the windshield, Jack reached up and adjusted me, just a little. "You've seen a lot, haven't you, buddy?" he murmured, almost to himself. I wanted to answer, to tell him that I'd seen more than he could imagine, that I'd carried his secrets and his fears, that I'd watched him try, again and again, to do the right thing, even when it was hard. But I just blinked my little red light, steady and silent. Sometimes I wonder about the things I've seen that never made it to the screen. The moments between moments, the way sunlight dances on the dashboard, the hush before a storm, the soft sigh of relief when a journey ends safely. I wonder if those are the things that matter most, the things that make up a life. I'm just a dashcam, but I've learned that the world is made of small, fragile moments, strung together like beads on a wire. Lose one, and the whole thing can unravel. There are new faces in the car now and then, friends, neighbors, even strangers who need a ride. I watch them all, recording their stories in silent, flickering frames. Sometimes I catch a glimpse of fear or hope or love. Sometimes I see nothing at all. But I keep watching, because that's what I do. That's what I am. I used to think my purpose was simple: to record, to remember, to bear witness. But now I know it's more complicated than that. Sometimes the act of witnessing changes things. Sometimes, just by being there, you become part of the story. You carry it with you, even when no one else remembers. One evening, as the sun set in a blaze of orange and gold, Jack parked the car at the edge of a quiet lake. He and Emily sat on the hood, watching the water ripple, their voices low and content. I watched, too, my lens catching the last light of day, the reflection of father and daughter side by side. For a moment, everything was still. No secrets, no fear, just the simple, perfect peace of being together. If I could wish for anything, it would be this: that the things I see, the stories I hold, might help someone find their way. That the truth, even when it's hard, might bring people closer, not drive them apart. That the world, in all its mess and beauty, might be just a little bit kinder, because I was there to witness it. I am a dashcam. I watch. I remember. And sometimes, in the quiet spaces between heartbeats, I hope. And that, I think, is enough.